always takes a couple seconds where my computer's like, So hi, YouTube. If you were already watching, I hope we're going to get a few eyeballs on here quickly. Setting up your webinar, redirecting to YouTube. It always takes a couple seconds. Yeah, there we go. My computer's like, there we go. You can hear me. Awesome. Okay, we are live. We are here with the absolutely phenomenal Meagan Hernandez. We're so excited to have you here. What's really special about Meagan in this interview is that our relationship is really complicated. It sounds like we're dating, but seriously, we went from not even really knowing each other to kind of this group coaching dynamic to like friendship, because we met in real life back at, was it January or February, like at the beginning of the year. To I hired you to well, we'll let you tell everybody what you do, but so I hired you. You're actually a part of Team Mama now, to coaching with you again in a completely different capacity. And so we've covered like all of our bases, our relationships. If we were on a Facebook profile together, we would say our relationship status is complicated in a really, really cool way. So I'm super excited that you're here and that you are going to be able to talk about your journey, because I think of all of the free mamas, Meagan, you are, and you can blush, you are one of the standouts to me of biggest transformation. I think that you have changed personally quite a bit. You've really come out and kind of like, like, yeah, okay, cool, I got this, and so there's that transformation, but also you went from no business to a firm with multiple streams of revenue in a year. I mean, hello, can we all just take a minute to like, I'm sorry, what? That is like unbelievable, like seriously unbelievable. So to get started though, let's back up. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you talk. How did this whole thing actually get started? Where were you? And I guess it was a little more than a year ago, but like, where were you when, like, everybody always jokes and tells me, I was just minding my own business, scrolling on Facebook and your Facebook. Where were you? What did your life look like?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And my story probably starts the same as a lot of the mamas. I had just had my son in January of 2018. I had a full 3 months maternity leave with him. And I say that months, it goes by so fast, as we all know. And, it was time to go back to work. And I had this little 3-month-old tiny little baby. And I just couldn't imagine going back. But, I did. And I suffered through, and I went back, and I thought that I would get into the swing of things, because I was actually in like a mom Facebook group, and a lot of us were talking about it. And they're like, yeah, after the first couple of days, it gets a little easier. And after the first couple of weeks, then you just get back into routine. And I was not getting back into a routine. I was every day miserable that I was going. I mean, not the job wasn't miserable, but I was personally miserable having to leave my son. And I just remember, like, I would come home and I would take him into the bedroom and shut the door and just lock me and him in the room so that I could soak up as much time with him as possible. And it was a really, really low point in my life. I had actually decided that I still had some money saved up in my savings for maternity. And I was like, I'm just going to have to quit my job. I'm just going to have to take I think I had enough money for about 4 months worth of, to get contributing my portion of the bills. And I was like, and then I'm just going to have to start over and get any job. And that was hard for me, because I had worked for years in my career building up to a certain spot. And I was willing to just start anywhere, go back to work anywhere, just so I could have that time with him. But it was really, really amazing. And I know people say this, other people in the group have said this, but like, that's the point I was at. That was my mindset. I was not looking for stay-at-home jobs. I was not because I didn't know that was possible. I was not looking for an answer. My answer was that I was just going to have to quit, start over. And then I came across your ad, and I had never seen anything like that before. I had never heard of a virtual assistant. I had heard of freelancing, but like some others had said, it was more of like still in-person freelancing, that you would, work for yourself, but go to the places. And I was just like, this just sounds too good to be true, but it made me so excited, and it made me like see a light that in this darkness that I was in, in this dark place I was in. And I remember I watched the webinar, like I started it on my lunch break and then I had to finish it after work. And I was like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I think I sent you an email, but then before you even had a chance to answer, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to do it. I think that I trusted you. And it was really funny because I've that. And, but you really spoke to me, and, I dove in head first. I didn't really have a whole lot of faith in myself in the beginning of it, but I was like, I'm going to go through the steps. I'm going to go through the process and see what happens.
That's awesome. Okay. So you signed up for group coaching, which for anybody who doesn't know, after you sign up for the Free Mama Movement, which is my 12-week course, you have the opportunity to also work with me and other coaches to kind of guide you through the process. And so that's how I really got to know you. And what's really cool is, and I just actually shared this with Meagan, like I think a week or two ago, you know how Facebook gives you those like a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever notifications. And there was that, but I was going through, actually, no, it wasn't that. What was it? It was when I was on a plane. It was when I went to San Diego. Mama Meetup. That's what it was. And I was going through the photos on my phone because I don't know about you guys, but my kids steal my phones and they like take pictures on my phone. So I have pictures of like my couch. So I'm going through and deleting stuff, and I go through, and exactly a year ago, it was like June or July of 2018. And I had a screenshot, because I'm not kidding when I say that I take screenshots when y'all use hashtag Free Mama Win. And I had a hashtag from you when you got your very first client. And it was like on my phone, and I sent it to her, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just a year ago. So will you talk to everybody about like what was that process for you? So you enrolled in the Free Mama Movement. You have this background in accounting. Yeah. Like you there's kind of two camps, right? There's like the moms who kind of come into our program, they kind of already know what they're going to do, but maybe they just didn't know that they could leverage that skill. And then there's women who are maybe going to learn a new skill. You knew what you were going to do. So what was that process from enrollment to getting your first client, and what did that look like?
Yeah. So, I went through the steps. Like I said, I just tried to follow through exactly what you teach in the program and do the homework and, figure out why I'm doing this and going down that route. And to be honest, I love accounting, and it's my passion, and it's what I had experience in, but I didn't know that I was going to be able to make just that work. I thought that sounded great to be able to be a virtual accountant, but I didn't know that I could do it. So I, like a lot of people, were like, okay, well, I have to learn social media too. And I have to learn,
as a service.
Yeah, as a service. Yeah, I was thinking that I had to offer those things, and I didn't really want to. I was thinking I had to, because I've seen a lot of new people come in and they're like, social media management is the only thing people are looking for. So I thought that at the beginning too. Yeah.
But now we know this is not true, right?
Right. No, and that was the big turning point for me. But in the beginning, that's what I thought. And so I was like, not really happy with that part, but I was putting myself out there in that respect. But I was also offering accounting, bookkeeping stuff. So the clients that I got with accounting, bookkeeping, that made me the most happy. And it wasn't until, like you said, January that things changed. If you want me to go into that.
Yeah, no, I totally want to go. It's so funny, you guys. Before we went live, I'm like, Meagan, we've done these interviews, but it's been a while. And I had a sheet with questions, and I think I should go off that. But we're just going to set it over here because I know exactly what I want to talk to you about. So you had this great growth, right? Like you really did. You did the program, you did the work, you showed up to the coaching calls, you put yourself out there, you got your first client, like all these things were great, but you didn't, and so you're making progress for sure. Yeah. But you didn't really, I didn't see you change like as a human, which and this is not the first time I've said this, it won't be the last, like there is no greater personal development course than going into business for yourself. And I saw you, Meagan, literally transform in kind of December to January of this year. And I know what the catalyst was for the change. So do you want to go into that? Because I think that's something that a lot of people don't really think about is, okay, cool. Like I'm working so hard to get a client, but that's not the end. That's really just the beginning. Like, you might be working hard to build a business, but getting a client is not the end goal. That's the beginning of a whole new set of challenges. So you're working with this client, and what happened in December? Or you can catch us up to December, but.
You're talking about the one client in particular? Okay.
So you took on a few new clients. You did the staircase method. You increased your rate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had actually, before December, I had matched my income at my 9 to 5. So I was completely happy with that. But I was still doing some tasks that weren't really, I didn't really love. But one client in particular, I had approached him and said that I was going to be changing my rates, raising my rates in the new year. And it was not a whole lot. It was a couple of dollars more per hour, but I had even offered to work less hours and cram more work in. I don't even remember how I worded it, but I was even trying to word it to him like, you're not going to have to pay any more money, and I'm still going to do the same amount of work. I just have to raise the bottom line number, because that's where I'm going in my business. And that's what, and I tried to put some emotional stuff into it. Like, this is what I need for my family, for us to get to our goals, where we need to go. And you hope that clients would care about, but you don't need to put that into business stuff. Anyway, he did not take it very well. He, I think, took it personally, and he was not very kind. It actually was a really big hit, and I stopped working with him immediately. So that was like right out of the gate, pretty much a third of my income was going to be gone. And so that was,
which is scary.
Yeah. And that was in December. I guess that was end of December. So it was scary. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it up. And I remember I was kind of freaking out.
I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was very shocking. It was shocking to everybody. But I'll tell you.
Because you had such a great relationship with him before.
I did.
But how I remember it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, he was your very first client.
Yes.
So you were actually charging him the least.
Right.
Like, he was lower than what everyone else was paying, but you had this great rapport.
Yep.
So the contract was ending. You were going to renew with your new rate.
He had already written me a testimonial that ended with, I hope to work with Meagan for years to come. So I was like, this is golden. But then no, it
didn't go for it.
Right. And it was, and he's come back.
We'll come back to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come back to him. But so, Meagan, what I want you to then tell everybody, because some people might be like, oh my gosh, that's really scary. Yeah. Guess what? This kind of stuff can happen. Guess what else can happen? Your 9 to 5 job can lay you off. They can go out of business. They can furlough you. A lot of different, you can get fired. I mean, like, so many, I think there's this illusion that 9 to 5s are more secure, but that's life. Like, stuff just happens, right? And so we didn't see this coming. I was coaching you through it. I totally thought he was going to go for it. I wouldn't have told you to put the personal stuff in your email, but whatever.
No, I know.
So he didn't. So then, but this, honestly, Meagan, this was one of the best things that ever could have happened to you, which we wouldn't have known at the time, but now we can look back. And so from a tactical standpoint, a strategic standpoint, what did you then have to go do? And what did you learn to do? Because this is really when you transformed as a business owner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's when I really started diving into Facebook groups. And that's when I started really connecting with people. I had done the posts and the comments and kind of connecting a little bit, but I really put myself out there and started connecting with everybody on a more personal level. And I will say it feels like you're throwing yourself or launching yourself out into the ocean or something, and you just have to trust the process. And it's like Lauren has created this process. And I think by now there have been enough moms that have done well with the process that you can, and so this is what I would say to people, you can trust it. You can trust the process. So you put yourself out there, you start connecting with everybody, and then, genuine relationships, genuine connections, and don't think about it like I need to work with all of them, but be seen, make yourself seen, make yourself known, them see you for the real person that you are and the funny, kind, quirky person that you are, and they'll remember you. And so when they see people with a need, they will push them to you and bring them to you. So that's what I started doing in January. It really, the thing with my client had that impact on me. You had done a Facebook Live and you said, become the person now that you want to be. And I was like, I want to be the go-to accountant. I want everybody to know me as the financial expert, and I want everybody to send people my way. And so, it's a little bold and it's a little bit, different than I've ever been in my life. But I was like, I got to make this work because I'm not going to go back to a 9-to-5. And that was what was on the line when I lost that client.
But Meagan, that decision that you made in that moment, like when those words clicked with you, because that could be said a lot of different ways.
Yes.
But that's how it clicked with you. Okay, cool. Now I have to be the person I want to be. Well, I want to be the expert person, the go-to person for accounting, for financial related questions. So how does that person show up now? And you started doing it. And we all saw it. Every single person who was in the Free Mama movement, especially that group coaching community, we watched you transform. We watched you become the person who, when anybody has a tax question or anybody has a bookkeeping question, Meagan Hernandez is the person who gets tagged. Always. Maybe not in every group, but that's not the point. We don't need global domination, although some of us want it. But you don't need that to build a successful business. You don't need 1 million eyeballs on you. You just need enough. You need a small group of people who trust you and refer to you. And that's what I may have said a couple things that clicked, but Meagan, watching you do this was so cool. I mean, it was honestly, you became the go-to person for me to send other people in the coaching community to. I would literally say, I want you to go find the groups that Meagan is in, and I want you to go do what she's doing. I want you to hack her process because you did it so beautifully. And what's really cool and what a lot of people don't understand, I think sometimes, is we can come from this very broke mindset of desperation where we show up in a way that is almost negatively serving us. It's the wrong way when you come from that desperation. But what you did is the opposite. You came from an abundance of I'm going to be this person and that person has opportunity. So I'm just going to go connect with everybody. And you saw the return on that. So we know in December, you lost a third of your business's revenue. You just ramped up. All of a sudden, you went from nothing to being able to leave your job to earning more than what you were making at your salary. Then all of a sudden, a third of it's gone in one conversation. How soon did you rebuild? And kind of maybe take us to where the firm side of your business is now.
Yeah. So it's funny because in January, I ended up, so putting myself out there and becoming known, I started learning what the needs were, what needs people had. And I realized that I had, a different audience than I thought that I could have. I realized different services I could offer. I started offering consults, and that's where the trainings started coming about because that's what people wanted. And I was listening to what they wanted. And so I ended up making just as much in January as I had in December. And I was like, I could totally make this work with this kind of different model that I've come up with. And then I quickly just ramped up from there. I kept listening. I kept learning what people needed and wanted.
Such good advice. That is such good advice. And I hope people are paying attention to you. You listened to what people needed. And then you did that thing that solved that problem. We can't get any simpler, you guys. We make this hard. That is so simple. I'm not saying it's easy to execute, but we got to drive that home, Meagan. That is brilliant. That is brilliant advice that you were giving right now.
Thank you. But you tell us to focus on a few groups and don't just put yourself out there. And I completely understand the temptation to join all the groups. I probably am still in more groups than I need to be, but I don't focus. I wanted myself to be seen and known in a few select groups because, I feel like I've done a pretty good job with that. There's a few select groups that I can go in now. And if somebody says, hey, I'm looking for an accountant, I can say, oh, hey, I can help you. And I'm to the point now where I'll have people back me up.
Yep.
And I'll have people say, oh yeah, Meagan's good, because they'll see me. And then that helps build a rapport. So, but it took a while to get there. I had to offer, free content, like free information for people and helpful information. And so it does take a little bit of time to build that up and, commenting on people's posts and offering advice. And I did start out, I offered a couple of free consults to people that really needed help, but it actually, I just offered help. I gave them information. I told them that, I offer paid services too, but they were appreciative of the free information, and now they tag me and stuff. And like, they're on the lookout for posts for me and stuff. So it just, I feel like I was rewarded for showing up as myself and for showing up authentically and being a real person and trying to be helpful. And I was rewarded by people seeing that authenticity and, helping me now. I feel like they're helping me. So,
okay. So where's your firm at today? You don't do it by yourself. And how many clients are you serving?
So I have a model now where I work monthly or quarterly with retainer clients. I have about 15 monthly clients, and I have about 10 quarterly clients that I just work with every 4 months, every 3 to 4
months. Come on, guys. Bring it in the back. Come on, YouTube. Like, I know you're on there. I see your comments. Bring me some class right now. That is amazing. In 1 year.
Thank you. Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, yeah, most of those are from January. Honestly, I do still work with I work with one of the people that I was working with before the end of the year. And that client in particular, he reached out to me. He texted me probably 2 months ago, and he said, hey, can you talk? And I was like, what the heck? I mean, I guess so. I had no idea what it was about. He knew that I was an accountant, but that's not what I helped him with back when I helped him before, because I was starting out. And he was like, look, my finances are a mess. I know that this is what you do, and I trust that you do good work. Can you help me? So I wanted to say all kinds of things. And some people may have, put their pride ahead, but, I talked it through with him, because he did say that it was a hit. He was surprised when I was going to raise my rate, and he did take it personally. And I think that, I understood that. And we kind of talked it through, and it allowed us to be more honest with each other now. And now I help him. He has 3 different businesses that I handle his accounting for. So, yeah.
You guys stick true to yourself. Seriously, if you do what I teach, and we talked about this yesterday, like, not that Meagan wasn't amazing anyway and wouldn't go above and beyond, but I literally teach the difference of putting a bow on it. Exceed people's expectations. And because you did that, even at a low rate, even when you were doing different tasks, you were memorable to him. And like he said to you, I know you're going to do a good job at this. So never burn a bridge, never show up less than what you're capable of delivering, and always exceed people's expectations. And in some capacity, if he wouldn't have returned, he would have referred you business. He would have said, because that's just the way that the world works, right? So that is such a great story. I love that story.
Yeah, that's probably been the most rewarding, how that circled back around. But and you do teach us that, put the bow on it. And I like to think that it exceeds, or that it starts even before working with people. And that and what you say about offering the value, even if you're not going to get anything out of it, even if you don't foresee ever getting anything out of it, you're helping somebody. And that can only create good karma in the universe or whatever. And a lot of times it does come back to you. So
totally agree.
He taught me that. And I like to put it out there in all the different areas.
Well, you have executed it beautifully. So I'm so insanely proud of you. But the reality is, we really haven't even started talking yet about what you're doing now. So you have your firm, you have your 25 clients, you have another bookkeeper who assists you with these things. But where has your focus shifted over the last several months? Oh no, are we frozen? Megan.
Hey,
there you
am I
are.
back?
You're back.
So
Yes,
sorry. Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
I'm like, is she frozen? She's frozen. Okay. You can see I'm on the delay on YouTube, and I'm just looking around like, where'd she go? Okay, so what I asked you was, we haven't even gotten into what you're doing now. So where has your focus shifted over the last few months? We have the firm on one side, but now you have an additional revenue stream. So tell everybody kind of how that got started and what you're doing now, and kind of where are you going? What's next for you?
Yeah. So it started, I guess, in January when I started listening to what people were needing. And I learned that a lot of people just starting out, they want to learn to do their own finances. So that's when I started doing trainings and consults. And it actually grew very rapidly. And I was able to, I was able to teach people how to do their own stuff. And I was like, this is kind of working. This is kind of a good deal. And then I was able to teach aspiring bookkeepers how to do it for people as well. So I kind of had these two different trainings. And then I started to feel like all of my time was being spent there. So it's like, I got to figure out a way to automate this. Maybe I should consider a course or something. And around that time, I heard of Lauren's Movement Makers that she was coming up with. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly the kick in the pants that I'll need, because I knew that I needed to do something, but I didn't really know how to pull it all together and make it work. So now I'm working on a course.
And you're almost done with it.
Yes. Yeah.
You sold out your first round.
Yeah.
That's, again, like, these are not small things, Megan. These are huge accomplishments. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Where
are you going? How does it feel?
I mean, it's crazy. It's it's weird because you think how things are supposed to feel if you've reached like these milestones or whatever. And I'm very proud of myself, and I feel very accomplished, but I'm just like, I want to keep trucking along, and I'm going to keep going. So it's like, I let myself be excited and I let myself be proud, but I need to keep going. So I do need to finish the course. I have some beta testers in the first round now. I'm going to record some more videos tonight and plug them in. I've been very fortunate that one of my VAs loves ClickFunnels and loves to work on the design side, and she's very good at it. So she has handled all of that for me, and the video editing and everything. So all I have to do is record the video and give it to her. So it's going really well, and I'm very excited to be finished recording so that I can kind of wrap it all together and, look at the big picture, make sure there's no holes, get the feedback from my beta testers, and then launch it. So that would be the next step, is the launch.
That's awesome. And something I want to point out is that 2 of your team members are actually free mamas. So when we talk about just showing up for other people, we typically look at the free mama group as like our support group, and it is that, but it is also an opportunity for people to network. There are enough Meagans now at this point who have scaled either into an agency model or going in a coaching or course direction or subcontracting, that there is no shortage of opportunities. We cannot come from a place of lack of, well, I have to do this because there's too many people doing this, or everybody's doing social media and I don't even like, so well, then why are you doing social media? Like, there is abundance. There is opportunity everywhere. Like, I think when you can really get that and believe it, that's when things really start to take off for people. And I think, like you said, when you're combining that mindset of like, okay, there's opportunity with what you said, Megan, which was such gold, of listening. Are you paying attention to what people say they need? And if that's a void that you can fill for them, how are you showing up and doing that, and creating those opportunities? So I just think that's absolutely amazing. Okay, so a few more quick questions, because I do want to respect your time and everybody else's time. I would love to learn, what has surprised you the most over the last year? It can be from personal, the course, the group, friendships, anything. What has surprised you the most?
Or
how have you surprised yourself?
Yeah. Well, I've definitely surprised myself. I've definitely done more than I thought I would. I mean, like I said, when I very first started, I had no faith in myself that I'd be able to do this. But I knew that I was desperate, and I knew that I wanted it, and I knew that I was going to follow the process. And I think that that's something that maybe a lot of people are going to just have to start with. I mean, there's a lot of people out there I know that doubt themselves, or that don't really think that they can do it. But there's enough social proof now that the program works and that it works, your process works. So even if you have doubt in yourself, just do it, go through the steps. And I wanted to say, what you were saying before about, people in the group, and a lot of people are at that point where they're hiring out now and they're outsourcing. And it's funny because I've connected with a ton of people in the Free Mama group. They reach out to me with questions, or I'll reach out to them and we'll chit chat, and they don't see it as talking to me about a potential client, because that's not why they're talking to me. But they don't know that I am looking to them as a potential VA or something like that. And they're just honest in their themselves. And I'm like, I wish they would go out and do that with other people, because they feel safe in the group, and they're themselves, and they're like awesome, and they're wonderful people, and they have all these abilities, but then they think it when they go into the other groups or other people. So that's one thing I would say, like, pretend like you're just talking to your friends in the Free Mama group, like use a filter, don't go all crazy with it, but you never know who might be interested in you. So I mentioned that. But one thing that surprised me, when you work with more people, you have to deal with more people. So that's something to think about too. It's like a dream thinking about having all these clients, but along with it, there's a lot of administrative stuff you have to do too. So
I think the lesson there is be really clear on what you want.
Yeah.
And that can change. Some of you might be like, oh God, that accelerator sounds really stressful, right? But others of you are like, yeah, I'm sitting on a dream and I need a kick in the tail and some strategy. Like that's what it was built for. And it's really funny. I always forget who called me out on it. It might've been Casey, but someone actually called me out in the group that they listened to an interview that I made.
I saw that.
The spring before I launched the Free Mama Movement that fall, where I said, I don't have team. I'm a one-woman shop. I don't want to deal with any of that. Like, I don't want anything. And now how many people do I have on my team? And so you don't you're not, never say never, but,
right.
But you be clear on your goals. Is your goal to make $5,000 a month, or is your goal to have a firm with 25 clients? And that's cool, but just be aware that there's no struggle-free life. You're always going,
right.
Even Meagan had a handful of clients meeting her financial goals. A client left, and it happens, but it's how do we navigate it? And are we equipped to not let it break us? And do you have that Meagan had to persevere and go back to the basics, right? She could have just totally lost it and gone all desperate on people, and it would have backfired. But she stopped and she composed herself and she said, what does Lauren say I need to be doing? Okay, cool. I'm going to go do that. And she did it. So you talk about trusting the process, but the other thing is you have to actually implement the process. And so Meagan, one of the things I have so enjoyed working with you over this last year is that you're super coachable, and you can always tell. And I've had people tell me that too. And I always take that as such a huge compliment. I'm like, thank you. You mean that I listen and I follow directions? Like, I love that. But you have been so coachable. Like, anytime I say, hey, this is where you need to focus, or this is what you need to be doing, or you need to spend less time here, you've done it. And it's not that I know all the answers, or you don't have, that you don't know them inside. I think you do. But I think the fact that you then follow through and you implement has brought you to this point today. And I can't say it enough. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished so far. It has been an absolute pleasure to be able to watch you go through this transformation, both personally and professionally. And so my last question to you is really to serve the people who are watching right now, who maybe at very different points in their business. Maybe they've enrolled in the Free Mama movement and they're looking for that first client. Maybe they're still trying to get the confidence or whatever to take that first step to start a business. Or maybe they're a little bit further along. But when you look back on your journey, especially to Meagan a year and a half ago, what would you look back now and say to her? What words of advice would you give to Meagan as she was getting started?
I would say you really need to you really need to kind of step out of yourself, step away outside of yourself, maybe, and look at yourself like other people look at you, your friends, your family, and think about what's true. Like, what can you really accomplish? What are you really able to do? Do you really have skills? And the answers are yes. Like, you are able to do all these things. And even though you may be scared and doubt yourself and your ability to do that, you need to realize that that's just fear, and that's just doubt coming in, but that's not truth. That's not what's actually going on. Even if you've never worked at a 9 to 5, even if you've been a stay-at-home mom, even if you have, you got married and you've just stayed home and kept house, whatever, there are skills that you have. There are things you're able to do. You are a wonderful, special person. You're you, and just realize that the mean things that you say to yourself, that's you trying to protect yourself. I've heard people say mindset. People say that, your mind trying to protect you from
to keep you where you are. It's
safe.
Yeah,
safe. But you need to realize that that's not the truth, and that the truth is that you can do it and you are capable of doing it. And you need to push all the doubt out of your mind and do what you know that you can do.
That's so good. And you're here today because you did exactly what you just said. And it's not easy. This is the part that's not easy. Business is easy. Like, it's very simple. These things that we've talked about, it's very simple. It's not always easy, but like, it's simple, right?
Right.
But what you're talking about, it's not easy to do. And yet it is the difference between succeeding and not succeeding. It's not about our skill sets. It's about being able to do what you just said. Can you push the doubts out of the way? Can you push the excuses out of the way? Can you push the fear out of the way? And say, you know what? You're not serving me. That's not true. Like Meagan just said, and I'm going for it because I am capable. Thank you so much. This was so great. I had so much fun. You are
me too.
I can tell that we've worked together because I'm like, good. Sounds better when she says it. Like, I love it. Anything else that you wanted to share that I didn't ask you about?
I guess just that, if you want to go to the next level and you want to propel yourself, keep trusting the process. And like Lauren, I mean, she has this great next level thing for you too. But don't be afraid to keep going. Don't be afraid to, don't think that you have to be stuck in a certain place. If you have goals and aspirations to go further, you can do that too. And, with Lauren's help or anybody else's help that you can find, keep going and keep chasing the goals and chasing the dreams, and you'll get it.
So good. I feel like we should end with another round of applause. That was so great. Meagan, thank you again for your time. If you have time, Meagan, jump in the comments. You have so much love for you in the live stream over on YouTube right now. So I hope you can go check that out. Everybody over on YouTube, all you free mamas, thank you guys for joining us. Meagan is an absolute powerhouse. Like I told other people all the way back in January, like if you need someone to model, Meagan's done an absolutely tremendous job of making a name for herself and becoming that go-to preferred person. And what's beautiful about what Meagan's created is that now that she has this reputation, she will likely not have to look for clients again. And it's a really, really powerful transformation. So if you can make that niche down, go out there, serve other people, like you're golden. See what I did there? All right, Meagan, thank you so much. Everybody have an amazing day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.